Evening Gamer. Evening Gamer. Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody.
Finally, back-to-back episodes. I'm not going to say we're back. Backstreet. What was it you said last week?
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, you
we're
did
back.
say that.
We're back to our usual rotation, and we're doing something a little bit different this episode, where it's not quite a rant; it's more a gaming news episode.
Yeah, topics. In recording in summery, sunny Sydney. Sydney's endless fucking summer.
Yeah, I know. The joys of getting public transport where you're decked out in corporate attire and you're just sweating bullets.
Oh man,
it's such a pleasure.
I've just been sweating since September, and I'm actually getting a bit fucking over it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's so funny how quickly you change though from like, okay, you start leaving for work and it's cold as shit, and you're like, I'm a bit sick of this now. I want the sun back. Like,
no, I love the cold, but like I also work with like a lot of Irish and British people.
Yeah,
and they love it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you grew up in Australia, and it could be anywhere in Australia, right? Or maybe not Tasmania. Fuck you, it's fucking cold down there.
Yeah.
But anywhere in Australia, it honestly around your 10th year of living here, it's just endless summer, and it's like I feel you ever what are those movies where it's just like Groundhog Day? Mate, when it's summer in Sydney, I just feel like it's Groundhog Day. You walk out every morning, cicadas are going, it's 90% humidity, it's 30 degrees already, you're sweating bullets by the time you get into work. Oh, fucking
I mean, I'd prefer it to the alternative of just like shoveling snow for, not seeing the sun for, whatever Norway or like north parts of Sweden or some, you know what I mean? Like
there's
the
some
northern
part
hemisphere.
of that just... You know what I'm doing this Christmas? I'm going to Japan, man.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to shovel snow, drink sake with the Japanese, and just forget about this humid bullshit.
Fair.
There's not even a fan in my room.
Yeah, I don't know how you live like that.
If you're not going to air condition, if you're a landlord and you don't have aircon, get a ceiling fan. What is this, Les Mis?
Yeah.
Why are you starving me of air circulation?
Well, I mean, it's just Australian building standards where they don't sort of design it for the heat. They haven't future-proofed it for global warming. The air conditioning unit is often sort of not every house has it. It's like fucking ridiculous.
Mate,
anyway,
call me sweaty knees because that's just
sweaty
that's
knees.
just all I've been. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's just all I've been experiencing for the last fucking 6 months. Anyway, yes, we are. We're doing discussions.
We're doing a discussion. We've got sort of a list of topics, and the first one we wanted to discuss was the current state of delays.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I'm at uni, right? I'm a student again. I'm a 31-year-old fucking student because
Yeah.
I went the old. Actually, some of our listeners might relate to this. I went on the old starting uni at around 19 and jumping degrees.
Yeah.
Pretty much until right now.
Fair.
With some long hiatuses in between.
Yeah.
And I've landed back studying. I won't name uni or anything like that. I study psychology now though. But what made me think about this is that I submitted an essay a couple of weeks ago. Right.
Okay.
And this essay took me a fucking long time, man. I put a lot of work into it. It represents source material well. It represents the case studies really well. I thought it was decent work. And when I got my feedback and the mark back, it just seemed like the tutor had just shut out a mark. Just read it once for 1,600 word essay. Read it once, redlined a few things, given it its mark and just thrown it on the pile. And it just got me thinking, like, what is the world now? Just output with no emphasis on quality. And I see this actually across so many industries, bro, like off-plan apartment buildings. How many defects when people move in? And then it got me thinking about gaming. Check out this for a list, bro, of games that have been delayed, right? And we spoke about a few of these games were meant to be released last year.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, Fallen Feathers, Subnautica 2, Fable. And that's just me doing a quick search on games that have been delayed. And for the games that are dropped, it doesn't seem like there's quality. And you know what? When I reflected on it, I thought, is this the developer's fault? And I thought it's probably not. It's just like maybe my uni essay feedback. The marker had 20 essays to do, didn't have enough time, and it was just get it done. And I just feel like that's the same in gaming. And when they can't get it done, it just gets delayed.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening in the world?
I hear what you're saying. Like, I think there's, on the one hand, I think be careful sort of painting with too wide of a brushstroke of going, you know, sort of sort of making the comparison between sort of your perspective of the response you got from your essay and then sort of the societal, you know, are we just rushing to do things of like, you know, you've kind of got to look at everything in isolation. But then on the other hand, you are probably right that culture now has gotten to a state of it is sort of get it out. And I don't think society has as much care now on quality as we had done in the past. You know, I think companies now are probably less concerned with this is quality. We're known for quality. That's our brand. That's, you know, one of our values as a company. As now it's just let's make as much money as possible and cut corners. Growth
at all costs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It was just, you know, kind of that thought process of one thing happened to me and it just got me thinking. And like, I feel like delays, we just coexist with them now as gamers. Like, it's just every time. Yeah. And even when you look, if you were to look up Little Nightmares 3 right now and try get a release date, it just still says 2025.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, we're almost in April.
Yeah.
Put a fucking date on it. Like,
I mean, there is sort of the holiday seasons where they all try to aim to deliver their games at the same time to maximize, you know, profits and purchasing, because that's sort of when everybody's, you know, looking to buy in the lead up to school holidays and the holiday season, often designed in the States. You know, so I think, you know, with the delays concept, you know, I can't remember who said it, but there was sort of a famous game developer, you know, I think he was Nintendo or something. You know, you can release a game, you know, and rush it and it forever then to be marred with sort of, you know, issues and graphical problems and all the rest of it. Or, you know, you delay it and get it done right. Yeah. You know, and I think he was right at the time. But now when you're seeing games like Cyberpunk, like, you know, your favorite one, the sort of ship flying one, you know, whatever that one's called.
Sky.
You know, the redemption stories of some of these games and the ability to overlay new content later on, it's probably almost giving gaming companies an out to still drive for probably when the publisher is looking for the best window. Because I reckon there's always a fight between the developer and the publisher, between the developer saying, it's not ready, it's not ready, and then the publisher doing time crunches. And you're often hearing about, and we heard about with GTA 5, you know, the developers being like, it's 15, 16, 20-hour days to rush the content, to get it out, to get it sort of within the window of time they're wanting it. You know, and it's sort of, you never like the concept of game or anybody, any worker in the world being driven to that amount of hours for the sake of their passion, what they want to put out there. You know, everything's become commodified and monetized. You know, it's the age we live in now.
Yeah, it seems just like bottom line over quality. And like I think sometimes these games think, well, you know what, if we drop it, we'll get an influx of cash and then we'll actually be able to finish it. I think that's sometimes a concern as well. Like, I think we saw that with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
They kind of got 80% through that game. It's like, we've run out of money.
Yeah.
Shareholders don't want to go in anymore. So like, just drop it. We'll get, I don't know, 50 million from initial release and we'll finish it. And then hopefully we have a redemption arc. And luckily, gamers are pretty loyal.
Yeah.
To publishers. Like, I have a handful of my favorites for sure from software, as you know, well up there. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. If they say there's a good update, go and check it out, I will. But yeah, I don't know. Speaking of Assassin's Creed though, with their delay.
Just before you go on that one, there was a thought I had on it. There's, as much as we're talking about the desire of rush to delivery and how gaming developers are now thinking to themselves, oh, if I just pump it out, you know, we'll get an influx of money. Look at the example of Concord, of that Sony first-person shooter where they rushed it. Well, maybe they didn't rush it, but they released it, maybe hoping it was going to get a bit of momentum behind it. There was a lot of talk around they didn't market it well enough, you know, and they kind of probably went the apex route of, we think probably it stands up on its own 2 feet and people will enjoy it. And the game player count was through the floor, and they then realized.
Through the floor, I love that as a saying.
You know, they just probably was was like, oh no, this is not going the way we want it to.
Huge blunder.
We've got to pivot real quick here on how we recover from this. So, I think it's an interesting thing. I don't think there's a definitive answer. I think some gaming companies are going to go, we're going to hold it until we know it's right and we know it's ready and we hit the window that's perfect for, when we think we're going to maximize return on it. And then, other developers are probably going to go the more monetized, we're just trying to get as much money out of our player base as possible.
Yeah, so fair. I know Assassin's Creed, the delay for that was on there. What about the leak?
The leak, I know. I mean,
what about that?
It's probably a little moved on in time from this, but obviously Assassin's Creed, somebody got early hands on it, the full game. They were posting game clips online, so people were seeing the game played, in not an early access, not as they should be. And even now, I sent you one the other day. It's like Ubisoft itself is now doing the most cringiest adverts you can find online, where it's like some weird streamer that you've never seen before,
just in front of a green screen?
hyping the game, playing it, and you're just kind of like, it's not even showing good gameplay or anything. And I just think Ubisoft, like this game, almost from when they announced it, early game players, I think, and I'm one of these people. I almost want Ubisoft to fail. Like I'm vying them to fail, which is obviously not great because I've played a lot of their games. I've enjoyed them.
I feel for them. I'm the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not sympathetic because it's Ubisoft, and in the past they have been known to do some sort of
dodgy stuff,
not shady or not dodgy, but just lazy, where they're just
revenue raising,
churning. Yeah. So like, I almost want them to go like, take a knee, think about it. And then come back and hit us with a black flag again. Really devote the time, devote the energy, and put out a product you're proud of, not something that is marred in, sort of rushed developments and in this day and age to have a game be leaked like that. Like you really got to lock that down, because not a lot of games get leaks to that level.
Yeah, that was crazy. The other thing was, did you say Split Fiction?
Yeah.
This because there was It Takes Two.
Yeah.
Which really kind of, I think, did a really great job on bringing back co-op.
Yeah,
because
it did.
The way you think about co-op is like, hey, let's play something together, right?
Yeah.
Like that's certainly how I think of co-op.
Yeah.
It's like, let's jump on Elden Ring, let's jump on Destiny, let's play together.
Yeah.
Or DRG, whatever it is. But with It Takes Two and Split Fiction, it's like, no, you need to actually work together. It's not just playing together, it's working together.
It is, yeah.
And this Split Fiction one, I know you've started playing, it looks pretty good.
I'm enjoying it. Like it's an interesting concept because I think it has brought probably a little bit of a revival in the place of co-op gaming, couch co-op gaming. It's such an industry or a gaming style that isn't really given not a lot of games come out in it, so they've almost kind of got monopoly on that, knowing that people are going to play that game. And particularly now there's almost a whole market out there of partners, playing it with your partner,
what's the easiest way to get more girls to game is get them to do it with their boyfriends. That's what I think. I think that, look, this game obviously reaches more than just couples, of course, but I think the target market is like gamers that are in relationships or potentially reaching new gamers through relationships.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Certainly.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's that's probably not their goal per se to bring more women particularly into playing video games, but that's just the natural result of releasing games that are couch co-op, particularly like that one where it was a lot of relationship. It Takes Two. It was very relationship of the guy, the girl.
I mean, the storyline was essentially going through a divorce, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was a bit rough of sort of, the parents realizing the damage they've done to their child by their poor parenting.
If you wanted to save the marriage, talk about fucking timing.
Yeah.
Talk about timing to get shrunk down and have to work together.
I know, right? I know.
Statistically, one of them would have been upset about that divorce.
Well, I mean, statistically, that divorce was still going to occur regardless. But now playing Split Fiction. So like as a game to play, is it fun? Yeah. I'm playing it with the missus. She's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. As like, somebody who consumes games and often, the news behind it, and also some of the probably Reddit pages I follow that seem to try and drag games in the political sphere a lot, of sort of, one race often coming into it, the Assassin's Creed of why is there a black samurai, the blowback, the sort of
like it's not historically accurate.
Correct. Yeah, those kind of things. Or like the gender stereotypes, now sort of the wokeism that's breeding into it. Like I don't really pay too much mind to it, but I do kind of almost have it as a sort of mild fascination that, like, even with this game or for It Takes Two, the wife was a powerhouse. She had a career going. She was clearly a very driven woman. And the male is sort of the bumbling kind of buffoony dude who's like, has not really much interest, half finished projects all the time. And like every conversation you're just looking at him being like,
a bit of a loser.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, fucking sack up. Like, what the hell? But now playing Split Fiction, it's two female protagonists.
Yeah.
And like obviously they're moving away from sort of it being a relationship at the core of the story. And the pair of them are now basically writers who are trying to get published. And the publishing house is kind of built this machine. This is all, I don't feel I'm giving too much away here, that rips the stories from their minds. And so they're sort of...
hence the name, right.
Yeah, and I was playing it and it kind of gives me Assassin's Creed Animus vibes, as they're kind of locked into this kind of graphical system, and being forced to sort of play through their stories that they've written themselves as protagonists. So it's a pretty interesting premise, but it's two females. And like there's and we sort of the concept or the idea of it, why choose to have two female protagonists?
Well, I mean, is it an issue though? Is my first question. I want to represent that side. Like, is it just? Are we looking into something that isn't there? Because like you think about all the games I've played, it's been a bloke and all his mates. Like, look at Red Dead Redemption. That's just outlaws. Like, look at Assassin's Creed.
I guess the point I'm making...
I guess that's historically accurate, but there could still be female protagonists in those games, and there's not.
So I guess I'm certainly not pushing back on, female representation in games because, you were absolutely right. Let's specifically talk two games. They have forever been predominantly male. And male protagonists, that's sort of it. But I'm curious by the decision
like the motivations.
If there has one. Two female characters. It's sort of like almost, because I always view it from a money making enterprise. Like let's not get this wrong. It is an industry that is designed to make money.
It's a business.
For people to part with their money. So to have it as two females, I almost feel like, and this is sort of the question at hand: are males more comfortable having sort of playing as female characters than it is sort of, do you see where I'm going with that? Of like,
than it is for women to play as male characters.
Kinda.
Do you think we're more open to it because we don't put as much emphasis on it?
Not that. It's just like
I see what
just
you're
think,
trying to say.
Because like, okay, maybe what is the statistical breakdown of male-female player base? I think we could confidently say
it's got to be like 80-20.
More play video games than women.
100%.
Like, has to be. It's probably the needle's shifting year on year. And the newer generations are probably much more now ever than before. Am I seeing female streamers and...
Definitely, I also 100% agree, and I also think that gaming is changing. Like, to be a gamer now, you don't have to have a PC, you don't have to do it 6 hours a day, you don't have to be online. All those gaming is, as you said, couch gaming. Like so many more of these games are coming out. You can play once a week, and you are a gamer.
Yeah,
like, spectrum is evolving.
Yeah, it's broken mainstream, no doubt.
Yeah.
It has absolutely made its way into sort of a very prominent place in society. And up there with the other forms of media that exist. It's just a curiosity to go. Two female protagonists, like are men more okay with that? Do we care? Like, am I sort of looking into something that doesn't even really exist? I don't know.
It could be. I'm not entirely sure. And just like you, I have no idea what the motivations would be. Just like you, I completely agree that games are businesses. They're there to make money. So you have to think that everything that goes into it is there to hit a particular target market, which actually kind of leads me into something else I wanted to discuss with you at the moment, which is like the first-person shooter realm right now and the state of it and how they're trying to hit target market. Have you noticed that for the last... God, man, it's got to be between the last 5 to 10 first-person shooter games. They are all this kind of colorful, punky, not blood and gore kind of orientated. And it got me thinking, like, what's the motivations behind that?
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to the target market. Like, are these games trying to be advertised to a younger audience? Is that because most of their revenue comes from kids that play games and get mummy and daddy's credit card? But like for us as well, when we were young, the lines weren't blurred.
Yeah, I think the swing has occurred where what they've realized is they're now making games that just appeal to the mass proportion of people who likely will play it and part with their money. And I think back when we were younger and these kind of games came out, I think they cared much more on a stylized, what was the theme and the vibe and sort of, what were they trying to represent? And back then the tone was, war, realistic, violent, bloody, dark.
COD, World at
all
War,
of those
Modern
ones.
Warfare
I know.
2, yeah.
And now it seems like the developers of it have realized the people who play these games more often than not, Fortnite, has absolutely captured, and holds probably the top spot, in terms of their battle royale kind of space and multiplayer, and has done for a significant period of time. That thus then Call of Duty now, the unicorn guns and the colors and all the rest of it, has certainly gone into that kind of realm of a little bit more slapstick, a little bit sillier, and more designed for that younger audience.
I think it would be easy to say that as games have ventured further from reality, meaning like we went from COD to Titanfall. All of a sudden you're a pilot, you could wall jump, you could kind of go invisible, teleport. It became more tech.
Yeah.
We then went into like Apex Legends, where you actually had special abilities. The further we've gotten from reality in terms of how the protagonist is represented in the game, the further we've gotten to it being relatable. And I think that's an easy scapegoat, but I actually think the motivations are, okay, we've got gamers like us. We love first-person shooters. We'll always probably play them. I think they're thinking, we've got them. How do we get more?
Yeah.
And I think with topics like, does gaming increase violence? I think they're more motivated to make it less gory, less kind of, gothic and death and bloody. I think those games will always still exist. But just, mate, I tried on the weekend, I tried COD, I tried Valorant, I played Apex again, I played Fortnite, and I played Fragpunk. Every single one of them heading in the same direction. It's all colors, it's all paint explosions instead of blood, it's all in-game purchases, colorful skins. It fucking sucks. There is nothing that is actually like the FPS of old, which is like blow someone's fucking head off.
Yeah.
Knife them from behind. COD still has that a little bit, but I tell you, it's disappearing.
Yeah. I mean, it's because even Apex compared to Titanfall was a slight sort of more characterized, stylized, than what Titanfall was. Because I remember in Titanfall, you'd be in a Titan, grab a pilot and crush them in your hand.
Yeah.
It was pretty bloody brutal at times, and you'd have the blood mist kind of walk through it. So I hear what you're saying. It just seems to be the current trend of it. But I think that's certainly the multiplayer market, just because multiplayer, they care about who plays the games the most, and it's probably people who do not have a day job, and sort of can devote as much time and money into it and increase their player base. And that's where they're you talking to any kid, and they're bright lights, sort of flashing bright lights, color, all the rest of it is what appeals to them, as opposed to probably a more older age group who is probably a little bit more into the let's make it historically accurate kind of vibe.
But it also concerns me as well, because tell me the difference between the dashboard of Apex Legends and a pokey machine right now. They're the fucking same.
Well, yeah.
You've got places you can buy things. It's colourful. There's lots of sound cues.
Yeah.
Right? There's vectors on the screen drawing your eyes. It's your receptors in your brain are firing. This addictive loop of dopamine release. It's all centered around that.
Yeah.
And it's actually worrying. They're obviously clearly not only trying to target a younger audience, but also trying to make it more addictive.
100%. And I mean, think about how often you hear those articles of, kids sort of pumping their credit cards through it, and, parents realizing they've just spent, $100 on a fucking, tokenized skin in a video game. It is concerning, but I think corporations, for even before it made its way into the gaming industry, were trying to come up with ways for humanity to part with their money. That's sort of the capitalist kind of way.
But yeah, it's just upsetting. I've been waiting for that game that like really brings me back. Like Apex was a really great era of gaming.
Oh, it was.
Like that was so much fucking fun, man.
Yeah.
They brought in new things. They took new movement tech to really great place. They got older gamers like us, gamers like us, back on the Xboxes, back talking, back partying up.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for that next game that I can probably play especially from an FPS perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping Night Rain does that.
I hear what you're saying.
I played that game Frag Punk on the weekend. I'm not going to review it right now or go into too much depth, but just at a base level, it regressed. I'm not going to say it sucked because you could have fun on it, but it regressed from where we took it 5 years ago. And it's like, okay, well, if the model here is that you're a business and you've always got to be growing, how can your product be regressing at the same time?
Yeah,
that's like a paradox. That doesn't make sense.
I hear what you're saying. Like, I guess it's the way we view it. Do we view? And I think you and I agree on this. Apex, for us, was the Apex battle royale multiplayer with your mates gaming. Like, I think if we could put it through our pillars, in terms of movement, gameplay, all the rest of it, I think it was just so perfect in its moment. But I think the majority of people probably didn't agree with us, and I think the player count probably of those other versions around, of the Counter Strikes, of the whatever the fucking kid one was, that we were just talking about, Fortnite. Those ones.
Oh, I'm 2 for 2 today.
I can't believe I just forgot the name of Fortnite. We were just literally talking about it. But those gaming multiplayer ones, the player count for those ones. So I think this new one that you've just referred to, that I think we were sending some reels back and forth on it, has gone that Counter-Strike kind of way, but has sort of modeled it on that more kids thing.
Yeah.
I'm quite impressed as well that I'm pretty sure it's the same developer who's been doing the Marvel Rivals game, and to release 2 multiplayer games that are quite different, similar sort of maybe, kind of color palette, in quick succession, they seem to be holding sort of, and the player count for that is increasing. They seem to be the ones that are kind of owning that space a little bit more. And I think you and I are probably just more out of that love loss of losing Apex, or Apex dropping off its pedestal. Respawn, they mined it for all it's worth instead of looking for what is next. And I think, we're probably primed on an Apex 2.0, of what's the sequel? What are they doing next in that space? Or are they looking at another Titanfall game? Who knows what's sort of in Respawn's future? And obviously a lot of the developers have kind of, or the people working in Respawn, have splintered off, started their own companies now.
It's so true. I don't want to sound like I'm from a different generation of gamers. Naturally I am. But I don't know, when I play these new FPSs, I just find myself yearning for just give me a gun, a secondary, a couple of kill streaks, a grenade, and let's blow some fucking heads off. I find myself yearning for that. Yeah. Because it's nowhere to be seen. It is absolutely nowhere to be seen.
It's interesting because it's like, was it the fact that it was me, you, Kyle playing it at that time of that time in our lives where we were coming in, jumping on at the same time, teeing up our day, rushing home to get on, and the game was the game, and it was so much fun to play together, explore it, win together, that like now it's almost like a nostalgia piece as well of going, if we were to put a good multiplayer game now, if it is that Dark Elden Ring, whatever the fuck it's called, will that fill
3 from 3
Night Rain? Will that one fill the void for us? Is it the game, or is it the time in our lives and the people we were playing it with?
It's such a good point, and I'd like it to be both, because there's 2 great parts of gaming. Obviously a great fucking game. You don't play every game with your mates. So the whole idea of a good game being the centerpiece of a great gaming era will always be prevalent. Yeah. But you're right. I think coming together, which is another great aspect of gaming, it brings you together. It is a community. Whilst there are some horrible people, the barriers to entry aren't that great. So there's some horrible people that game. Yeah. But largely as a community, it's not toxic. It's a great way to experience something. And I think there is definitely a lament on the end of that era.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a new game should come out that still epitomizes that.
Yeah.
And that still represents that. That still brings you together. And I'm just hoping Night Rain does that.
Yeah. I think, I hear what you're saying. And I think it's that I've probably moved a little bit away from the multiplayer thing and just been heavily focusing on single player, and so it's, obviously we've talked about it and I've said it on this pod before in terms of just the desire to pump out content for the pod and reviews and all the rest of it. If we were to kind of, Night Rain, let's give that one a whirl, and see if that one fills the void.
Oh, mate, day one, I'll be on that game.
Yeah.
And if you guys aren't on, I'm playing with fucking randoms. And if I level up and you guys get left behind, then that's what happens.
Well, I mean,
Mind you, I have like 4 gaming accounts these days, so I could just smurf it up.
Well, I don't know if Night Rain will do it on a leveling up basis like that. From what I was reading, it was like you go through the whole thing within the game you play of leveling up within the game, not outside and having your profile level up. I'm very curious to see sort of the carryover. You reckon you need to do the 1 to 100 altogether? Otherwise, I don't think it's 1 to 100. I think it's I think I read, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong on this, that so you jump in the game may take, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours or something, and there's stages through it. So within the first 5-10 minutes, you're quickly grabbing items and getting low level experience from mobs. And then, a boss appears and the boss is randomized. And then if you beat that one, then you kind of go back to leveling up again and you're rushing around to try and get more mobs, better items,
right,
and leveling up within the sort of 40-hour minute, and then you hit the big bad at the final stage of it. So it's sort of almost a 3-stage thing that you don't then come out of the game and have like a battle pass where you're like prestige level 9, No,
but I think there will still be some long-term achievement based.
Yeah, I'm curious, if they put skins on it and they follow that kind of model, if they don't or not, it's an interesting one. Yeah.
How they do that, because I think it's a great idea. What about this? Do you know what I read the other day? And I think
I feel like I'm about to find out.
Fucking hell. This guy, he gives me a hard time, eh? Remember last week when I was like, I've watched a lot of fucking horror. And by the way, dickhead, I have seen Cabin in the Woods.
Did you like it?
No, I'd seen it.
But did you like it?
You fucking rinsed me.
I didn't rinse you.
On
I just
the
quickly...
off chance I maybe hadn't seen a movie.
Okay, what did you think of that movie though?
Yeah, it's good.
Did you like the ending with Sigourney Weaver? I thought was always like an interesting one.
I liked it, man. And to be fair, I saw it a while ago. So like there's a lot of horror movies in cabins.
There is a fair few in cabin.
I'm pretty sure there's even the original Evil Dead started in a cabin. So like, the movies start to mold together a little bit because the cabins are pretty fucking familiar.
I mean, we already proved that last week when we were doing The Purge and The Strangers.
Anyway, do you want to fucking find out what I read? Someone within the GTA development team. I don't know who.
Rockstar.
Yes. No, I know that's I know he's on my case. I know that's the publisher, but someone within that team came out and floated the idea of charging gamers per hour.
Hate it.
You raised a good point, which was like maybe they mean online, and I was like, even if they mean online, what do you mean charge? Like that.
I just think it's
just to clarify, what I mean is you don't buy a game or pay for in-app purchases or buy a battle pass. They make money off you from the hours you spend playing their game.
Yeah.
That's what we mean here.
Yeah. I mean, it's atrocious because you are forgetting that gaming is an entertainment piece and it is something that people do with their time because they enjoy it. And to then their argument, I think, was something along the lines of the cost to design it, to build it, to put it together never actually probably equates to the dollar value they get back. Like it's sort of, I think their argument was to say it's not, they could make more money, they should have more money based on X, Y, and Z. But I just think I don't see the mass market accepting that, no matter how good, because that's Ready Player One shit, that's In Time. Do you remember that movie In Time with Justin Timberlake where you got the fucking time and you have to pay for everything? Oh, it's a fantastic movie, but it's got to be one of the silliest concepts of just being so not in touch with gamers to think that people would actually buy into that, because at some point And okay, so the ones who are probably going to fall into the trap are the kids. The kids who want to play that game, they think it's fantastic.
From the commercial element of it.
Exactly. So, you immediately, with Apex, for example, whatever it is, you pay, play days and days and days on whatever your game time eventually ended up being. Then you would times that by the per hour basis, and you're now parting with what, $2,000 to play the fucking game?
Because
and
I liked your product.
In a time of the life where cost of living is through the roof, where the economy, recession, all the rest of it, and you think I'm going to give you $2,000 to fucking switch off and play your fucking game, no matter how good the game is. I'm sorry that no matter those kids, when they grow up to an age where they realize, wait a minute, I can't afford rent. Am I going to give you $2,000 and I can't afford rent? I can't afford my fucking dinner? Shut up.
Crazy,
You're ridiculous. So you're then trying to target people who can afford that, and people who can afford that are smarter than that not to do that and fall into that trap. Like, it's just flawed.
And it's also like, that's the way business works. Like, think of an author when they write a book. They don't write a book saying like, I'm going to sell this to one person, right, and make my money back.
Or it's like saying,
I'll charge them whenever they, you know what? Like, it's like, no, you make something and then you make your money in numbers. That's how it's always.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't
it
change
sounds
the goalposts of how business works to make yourself richer. If this happens in a game, boycott it.
Absolutely. I think that's unanimous. But it seems to be the natural progression from the whole subscription-based model. And like, if we make the correlation between other art forms, and it's basically like saying, and this is what's already occurring, every time you decide you're going to rewatch Lord of the Rings, you have to pay for it again.
Dumb.
But that's what's happening now with subscription. You have to pay for fucking Stan or whatever stupid streaming service they've all got now to rewatch the classic movies, unless you've obviously got it on DVD. But that was the jump they clearly knew that was fantastic, of going, one, people don't have the physical copies, and then we charge you every time you want to fucking watch those classic movies.
Imagine having to pay $1 every time you turn your TV on. You'd be like, why did I fucking buy it?
Well, we do currently. Electricity,
that is a little different.
Do you know what I mean? But this is the natural progression of it. But it's too on the nose. This is too Matrix for me to make me go, I'm okay with this. Like, I'm okay if you want to charge me more because you think the cost of making it was so much more. And we've said this before, going, if GTA is what they're saying it's going to be, I will give you more money because I think it's probably worth it.
And why is it? Can I just say,
but not to the point of I'm giving it a per hour fucking amount of money.
Like, why is it always the richest people complaining that they need more money as well? Like, one of the richest developers on the planet is literally going, oh, you're abusing me. Fuck you, dude. You're only rich because we all believed in you.
Well,
and like, you're the richest of us and you're asking for more money. You just rattled off all the things that everyday people deal with.
Yeah.
Electricity bills, subscription services, recession, cost of living. And we're not even complaining. We are still willing to pay these subscriptions.
I think it's having studied psychology, it's so quick, and it's a fantastic study to say, so a person does it hard growing up. They don't come from a well-off family or whatever it might be. At their 20s, 30s, 40s, they end up in a fantastic job and they make great money. Then as they get that money, the curvature of their expenditures and their expectations of values become cars, the material things of, I now fly first class all the time. And it's like, those people, how quickly do they forget the hard times and the coming up times? And they then look down their nose at other human beings who, they think are beneath them. And all the conversations are, oh, have you bought the new Lexus? Oh, have you got the new fucking this? And they all just become money hungry, corporate sort of, not corporate all the time, but just status orientated.
I think you're right that it is a psychological thing, but not in the way you're talking. Like, I think that what you mentioned there is actually an economic problem, which is your propensity to consume and save does change and scales with your income for sure. But I think the psychological element of it is the arrogance, this like seeing everything through your own myopic scope of the world and like your sense of self and sense of importance in the world. It's like, look at the impact I have. Therefore, I should have a disproportionate amount from you. And it's like, I would just love, and I said this on the podcast before, I would love to give these producers in the eyes of, economics, there are producers and consumers. We are consumers. I would love to give these producers of products and services just the stark reminder that they are fucking nothing without their player base. They are fucking nothing without their fans. If we all boycotted something, I guarantee you for a week, every producer, if we decide to boycott it, they would shit the bed and make the changes we want them to in a fucking heartbeat.
Well, I mean, look at the swastikas. Look at Tesla's cars at the moment. Like the boycott on them is pretty hard, and his market cap has like been wiped quite significantly. I think it saw like $300 million has been wiped from his portfolio or something like that.
I don't know if I would have ever been in the position to afford a Tesla, but let's say hypothetically I was one day.
Yeah.
I actively made the decision after I saw what he did to never buy one of his things again.
And I mean, tons of people who own Teslas are now selling them because of what he's chosen to do and how there's a guy who, he was in Iron Man. He acted in it. There was a moment in Iron Man 2 where he was across Tony Stark in a scene. He tried to pivot, place himself as real life Tony Stark. And if he'd stuck the course and actually kind of, focused on the cars and being genuine about wanting to improve the world, his whole electricity kind of thing, Starlink, there's some of the things that he actually does that technologically you're like, he's pushing the boundaries. He is doing some things.
And he blundered it.
And let me be clear. He's not doing it. He's buying the companies who are doing those things and then probably scaling them to a whole new level that
just
you're kind of like
face on it.
But then, of course, now the person he's become is some sort of ketamine addicted, crazy, Asperger's, autistic, who knows what issue he's kind of got under the hood. He's just gone off the rails, and you sort of, now everybody's looking at him just going like, I ain't giving you a dime now. Yeah. Like, you just,
God, how relatable is gaming to real life?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't wait for in GTA 5, they're going to probably have an Elon Musk character in there. I would not be surprised. They often make correlations between sort of current events and cultural sort of phenomenons in their games. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some electric cars rolling around with a Nazi symbol or something.
Fuck. That would be... I wouldn't put it beyond them, but that is a wild play.
I know.
That is wild.
Well, I saw recently him complaining, saying like, I don't like playing GTA because you kill cops in it. And it's like, oh my God.
Shut up. That's... that person that just runs their mouth in the room and then someone eventually goes, shut up. And that's just what I want to say to that pay per hour thing. I hope someone in the boardroom is like, shut the fuck up. What kind of an idea is that?
Oh, I think the blowback on that has been pretty hard of people just going, nah, like that's not the vibe.
Let's just all be raw just for a second and just start telling idiots to just shut up again. Can we go back to that?
Well,
looking
yeah.
At someone like, shut up.
So
go
here's,
home, write it down on a piece of paper and then keep it in your room. And you read it every night before you go to bed, but stop fucking talking about it.
So this is, and we're obviously, talking of gaming and sort of, draws of real life, all the rest of it, and this topic, and you mentioning studying psychology, there's a concept of societies who are too tolerant. And societies that become too tolerant eventually allow intolerant people to gain momentum.
Yes.
Because we're like, everybody's allowed to have an opinion, everybody's allowed to have a voice, freedom of speech and all the rest of it. But when those people are talking about fucking mass murdering or whatever else, it's like, well, we can't tell people to shut up because their opinion is just as valued as mine. Yeah. And it's like, that hand-wringing kind of far left maybe sort of vibes, or maybe not even far left, or just I don't know where they swing on the fucking political spectrum. But it's like, yes, you're absolutely right. We should tell them to shut the fuck up more often.
Yeah.
And these kind of things, they won't gain momentum. But unfortunately, the internet has helped this because it gives them safe fucking spaces to be like this.
My advice to anyone listening right now, this would be my advice, is apply what you do in gaming to everything in life. And what I mean by that is when someone comes up to you and says something about your favorite game, they go, hey, did you know this about your favorite game? You go, wait, what? And then they explain it to you and you go, I'm going to fact check that. And you jump online and you fact check it and you go, no, that's not exactly what it was. apply that to everything in life right now, because it is a fucking storm out there.
Yeah.
It is just a concoction of just, as you said, just
misinformation.
everyone.
Yeah. Just misinformation, AI, just sort of boomers are obviously falling for it left and right. But how that generation is not, been able to figure technology, it blows my mind.
Oh, that's 45 minutes.
Wow, that's 45 minutes. Yeah, just to wrap it up. Like, let's close it down. I mean, like, geez, this episode is probably quite a shift of gears from our usual run, and probably a bit more in the opinion based than sort of more. I guess
going to actively strive to bring positive topics next week.
Okay, all right. Yeah, sorry if this has depressed anybody without society complex and sort of psychology conversations.
Hey, if it's your first time here, welcome.
This isn't normally like this, I swear. Next week it'll go back to like, yay, RoboCop, like, great game.
Welcome to the Evening Game, where we talk about things, sometimes for too long, but it's raw and unedited, baby girl. Welcome to it.
And we're not asking you to pay by the hour.
No,
so,
we're not even asking you to pay. Not even by the hour.
This is free content, guys. How much more free do you want to make it?
I would strongly suggest you fact check anything we talk about as well. We've fact checked it, but if you'd like to do your due diligence, I think that's always a good practice to have.
Yeah, I don't mind being fact checked.
Also, when you're listening, or while you're listening, dear listener, give us a little rating up there at the top.
Yeah, what we like to call a slap and tickle.
A slap and tickle. Write in, info@theeveninggamer.com.au.
Do write in. Give us your opinion. Obviously, this episode has been quite a realm of topics. If you have an opinion on any of these topics, love to hear from you. If we're talking out our ass and you think we're dead wrong on a thing, let's talk about it.
And anything that was spoken about today, delays in gaming, split fiction and gender stereotypes, the FPS realm at the minute, or the market, the target markets of different games, the pay-per-hour thing, right in, share your thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll
if you've got a topic you want us to talk about, I'm happy to cancel ourselves,
We're doing this week by week.
Yeah.
So
if I die soon, just think
I
about.
hope you don't.
Well, just think about.
Just please live till at least Night Rain
I'm
comes out.
blaming Elon Musk, basically.
But most importantly, don't be an NPC.
Keep leveling up, everybody.
Thank you.